I'm going to show you how we went from this to this. We made an entire ad in pre-production before we even went into production, and I'm going to show you how we did it. Okay, so for our first step, we need to capture the room in 3D. So in order to do that, we're going to use an app called Polycam. So you'll go to your app store, download Polycam, and then sign up for a free account on Polycam. And then what you're gonna do is go over to the camera screen, and it's really simple. All you have to do is just hit that record button, and then it will start recording and capturing the room and the space that you're in. So this was a 3D scan that we did on the location scout for the commercial, and right away it looks like melting chocolate. And that's actually totally okay for this process because it's more important that the house is to scale than that it looks all nice and pretty. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is you want to go up to the corner and you'll hit the cloud upload app. So you're basically saying, I want to upload this to the cloud. All right, so the next step is you're going to get onto your desktop computer and go to poly.cam. And right away, you'll see the 3D room that you uploaded. So obviously here I have a lot of different things I've uploaded. All right, so for the specific example that I'm going to show you, we're going to go with this one. I know it looks pretty funky, but if I click on it, it's a pretty close, accurate model of what I actually took in life. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to come up to download. Now you're going to have to get a free trial to do this. I mean, you can pay the yearly fee to do it if you want, but I just got a free trial. So you'll go up and hit download, and then you're going to select OBJ. That'll save the OBJ file of your room. Okay, so after we've captured our room in Polycam, the next thing we want to do is we want to head over to elixir.com, and we're going to purchase and download the software called Set.A.Light. Now, keep in mind they do have a free trial of this. You can test this out a little bit, but for what we're doing, we will need the full version. But again, if you're not ready to buy right then and now, I'm not sponsoring them by any means. So, take your time. If you want to try it out, click the try for free first. Again, it's going to be a little bit limited. You won't be able to import anything into it, but you can kind of get a gist for what the software is capable of before you buy it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit buy now, and then I'll go ahead and purchase the studio version right here. Now what's nice about this is you pay for it once and you own it forever. So you're going to buy that, and then once that's bought, so you'll have this account here and you just go to licenses, and it's all set up right there. Now, I'm not going to walk through in detail like how to install it, how to put the license code in. I think you guys can figure that out. And if you have any questions, there's plenty of resources on Google and whatnot to figure that out. The one thing I will say that you will need for this, though, is you're going to want to get you want to add on the 3D importer add-on. I think it's an extra $50 or $60 for that. And so you'll just want to make sure that you add that on to your cost, and then make sure when you go into the software, you activate the license for the 3D importer for it to work properly. So just keep that in mind as we go into the next step here. Hey everyone, just a quick break to give a shout out to our sponsor Soundstripe. If you're a creator like me, you know how crucial it is to have high quality, royalty-free music for your projects. With Soundstripe, you get access to an incredible library of music, sound effects, and more, all curated by award-winning artists. It's super easy to find exactly what you need to make your videos stand out. Plus, as a special treat for you guys, Soundstripe is offering 10% off when you sign up. Just use the code JoshChapel10 at checkout. The link and code are in the description below. So go check it out and elevate your content today. All right, let's get back to the video. All right, so now we're in Set.A.Light 3D Studio, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on New Shooting, and we'll go to Large Room. Okay, so right away, let me just explain a little of the UI. I'm not going to do a very in-depth tutorial on how to use Set.A.Light in this. I'm just going to show you the bare bone process for creating the storyboards, enough to where you can, get a good concept for what your movie is going to be. So I'm not going to go over every little tweak and minute detail in Set.A.Light. There's a lot of tutorials online that go through some of the specific details. But in a nutshell, I'll just explain the user interface a little bit here. So this is your property window. This is where you adjust a lot of the things that you see here. And this is your window where you get to move things around. So if like I want to move this light, I can just click on this light and move the light, or I can click on the model and move the model. And then you'll obviously see that in this other window here, this is what our image is producing. So this is our camera here, and this is what our camera is producing, which is this window over here on the right. Now, obviously, it's all set up for photography, so to switch it to film, it's pretty easy. So we click on our camera, come over to the properties on the camera, and you notice there's a ton of settings you can just dial in very precisely here. So you have your exposure, your ISO, your aperture, all these different things. So I'll go to film. Now I notice it's still in that vertical format, which I know nowadays, obviously that's a thing for film, but we don't want to do that for this tutorial. So we're gonna go to this little box in the corner here. It's this very tiny little box over here. And we'll just switch that to horizontal. Okay, so we switched it to horizontal, but that's not the right aspect ratio we want. We'll do a 16:9. And again, you can change that to whatever you want as far as your aspect ratio goes. And then to adjust the camera, like if I'm just adjusting like the tilts or the pan, all I have to do is just click on this image with the right mouse, hold it down, and then I can move it up and move it around to the angle that I want. And then it does a 3D render there. So pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to show you right away how to import files in. So first things first, this room we're going to import is very, very big. I think it's even bigger than this this room we have. So let's go ahead and delete everything except for our camera. And then we'll click on our room. And then let's just go ahead and set everything to 100 except for the height. So we'll set the width to 100. We'll set the length to 100. We'll set the height to like 30. Okay, so that gives us a lot of space to work with here. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over to where it says My Library. Now this is assuming that you have installed the 3D import tool that's located on elixir.com's website. You'll need to purchase Set.A.Light first before you get the 3D import tool, so just keep that in mind. So I'm going to head over to My Library, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to hit import. Okay, so we have our poly.obj file here. So keep in mind it only accepts OBJ files. And then what I'll do is I'll hit open. All right, so once I hit open, this is what we see. So this is our 3D importer window here. So we're just trying to prep the file before we bring it into the software. So right away, it's going to look kind of funny. You'll see how we're going to get around this in the software. So first things first, the scale is off here. We're going to want to change it from centimeters to meters. And again, it's going to depend on your scan. You might see it just might be slightly off, and you'll have to adjust it just a little bit here just by changing the units of measurement. So we'll change it to meters, and then all of a sudden we are now accurate with our space. And then we'll make sure that we'll align our object to the floor. And then we'll go ahead and hit apply. Okay, so we'll go ahead and select the room that we just brought in, and now we'll drag and drop it onto our set. Okay, so now I'm going to skip forward in time a little bit, and I'll show you an actual set that I set up for this. Okay, so what we want to do is obviously right away, you can see here, this looks a little funky, doesn't look exactly like what we captured. So to get around that, basically what we're looking at is the exterior of the model. So it's just kind of, the model doesn't understand what's on the actual exterior, so it's just wrapping things around it. But if we use our scroll wheel and we zoom forward, and then we move over a little bit, it's, again, you kind of have to play around with it here. But you'll see here, we can easily get into the actual house. So this looks more like what we captured here. So this is just a basic scene that I have for this one piece, is we have our model here, and in the actual piece, she's gonna be holding this like a health insurance card up, saying something. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna step into the scene and kind of show you how, first of all, how you pose the models, how you use the camera, and then how you use the lights. So one thing to keep in mind with these storyboards and the lighting, especially if you're going in and you're capturing a room and you're going to be filming during the day, and let's just say you have window light coming in, the lighting that you're going to do in Set.A.Light isn't going to be 100% accurate to the way it will be on your actual set. So just keep that in mind. If you're doing it at night, then you can, or you're blocking out the light from the windows, then you can definitely get it to be dialed in the way you want it to. Because in Set.A.Light, it doesn't realize that this is sunlight out here, so you have to actually put a light out here that mimics the sunlight, if that makes sense. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you guys is how to work with the models. So in order to put a model out onto the floor, what you do is you come over to the Model tab, and I can literally pick any model I want here. So I'll just pick this, this lady here. So I can have her come out. And you can see right away, she's not quite level with the house. So what I'll do is I'll just pick this up and down arrow here and raise her up a little bit. But again, I'm just gonna be adjusting this model here. I was just showing you an example of how to bring one on. So I'll go ahead and delete this one here. Oh, and another thing too to keep in mind is that when you're trying to move people around on these floors, especially in these rooms, it can be a little tricky to select them. So you're gonna have to get pretty close to them to select them. Okay, so we'll click on our model and then we'll hit the backspace button to delete. Okay, there we go. So again, we'll just work with this model that we already have out on the floor here. And I'll show you how we can pose our model in a certain way. We'll go ahead and click on her. So again, you got to get in pretty close to select them. And if you do happen to select the background, you move it, just hit Command Z, and that solves that problem pretty easily. So when you select your model, you'll notice there's a lot of different options for style that come up. So I can change a lot of different things here. I can change the hair, like I can make her have no hair. I can do that. She can be wearing a hat. There's a lot of different things I can do here. So before I had her with braids, so let's just go ahead and change it to where her hair is straight. So we'll do that. And then you can change the hair color here. So you'll notice over here that I have it set to black and white, so you can't really see any color. So if you wanted to do color, you could easily do that. I just set it to black and white because for storyboards, generally storyboards are in black and white, but that doesn't mean you can throw color into it. So either way you want to do it, but I'm going to keep it on black and white still. So again, to adjust that, I just hit this color wheel thing to go back to black and white. Okay. So over here, what I'm going to do is I like the color of her hair. I'm not going to adjust the color. For the clothing, if we want to adjust the clothing, it's pretty simple. So like if I want to give her, like if I wanted her to look like Black Widow, she could be wearing that there. Or if, you know, if I wanted her to be wearing, like she's about to go jogging out in the cold or something, she could be dressed like that. So there's like a lot of different ways we can go with it. So like the sweatshirt obviously is on her, so we can change that color and make it to whatever color we want. But obviously we're against black and white, so just keep that in mind. But let's just say we want to make it pop out a little bit more, so we'll just make it almost a white, but not quite. So do something like that. So pant color, I'm okay with that. And then for tops, so this is just like the undergarments here that we can change. Pants, so I could change her to wearing shorts if I want to, or she's wearing jeans, or she's wearing leggings. So we'll go with jeans. I actually like the jean look there. And let's adjust the shoes, see if there's anything we want to adjust here. So I like the shoes for the most part, but she has these white shoes that could be kind of fun. But honestly, I think that's fine. We can just keep it the same there. Okay, glasses. I can add glasses to my model. So if you look over to the right here, you can see like I can add these glasses if I want to, or other types of glasses. But I think we'll keep the glasses off. So we'll take those off. Okay, eye color. You can adjust that. Skin tones. Pretty straightforward there. Makeup. So I can add more mascara on if I want to, or some other fun styles here. But I think I'll just stick with the first one. I like that. Okay, and then this is also really important too. So let's just say when they first come out onto the floor, you won't see, it'll probably look something more like this when you put them out there. And let's go ahead and adjust my camera where I want it to be. So I'll move the camera over to where things are a little bit more center here. So we'll go to position X here. So again, I'm just using my mouse to drag on this. So we'll go to position Y, hold the mouse button down. Let's drag this over. Okay, we'll do the same on X again. Again, we're just trying to get her center in the frame. I'm not too worried about her posing at this moment. We'll repose her in a minute. Okay, so again, I'll just adjust the camera here the way I want to. So again, I'm just adjusting position X by holding the right mouse button down here. And we'll move it in a little bit closer. And then I'm going to right click on the image and we'll turn our model to face the camera more. And again, I know the composition here isn't perfect, but again, for your specific piece, you can adjust this however you want. And so the next thing, we'll click on our model here. And now let's, these two things I find to be really important. So if we want to align our model's head towards the camera, we just click on this little icon here. So I'll zoom in so you can see it. So we can hit rotate head towards camera. You'll notice when we do that, her head gets rotated towards the camera. So right now she's looking a little bit off center, but what I can do is I can come over to my eye line and make sure her eyes are directly on the camera. So if we want to adjust the pose of the model, so we've talked a lot about the style and where the head's facing and things like that. So if we want to go into adjusting the model, we go over to posing mode. Now they have a lot of presets in here that you can choose from. So if I go over to pose, there's tons of presets that I can go through. But these poses here, I mean, they're more for photography. They're not really made for film or for if you're doing like a commercial or some sort of narrative piece. It's not really optimized for that. So there's a few different tools we can use here. So your best friend is actually going to be this tool right here, and I'll show you how this works. So this is the simple mode. So we'll start with the simple mode here. Now let's just say I want to pull this arm down. So all I do is I just click this hand here, and I can make the arm come down. Now, of course, that looks a little strange. So, and as we're posing, it'll look a little contorted. But what I can do is I can come around here, go more out like that. So to start out, for our first frame, we just want our hands to be fully down. And so now what we want to do is we want to get in and do some more fine adjustments for that arm now. Okay, so I'll come over to advanced mode and I can select the part of the body that I want to adjust. So I'll select the shoulder and we'll just rotate the shoulder out a little bit. Okay, and then we'll want to rotate her hand down a little bit here too. So now when we go to the hands, this is how we adjust hands. I know hands are always important in filmmaking to convey things. So we'll go over to our advanced mode. We'll click on our hand here. Okay, so if we go over to body, tab over to body on our property window, you'll notice that there's a lot of properties here for hands. We have this finger fold going on, so we can actually open the fingers a little bit more here. Now we'll do something similar on the other side here. So I'll come over to the other side of the arm. So what we'll do now is we'll take a virtual photo of it. Hover over to this window here where we see our frame, and I'll just click that camera button. And then what's cool is if you hop over to the timeline, it's saved that shot in time here. Okay, so now let's talk about the feet. So if I want to adjust the feet here, it's basically the same way that the hands work. So I can come here. If I want to make her look like she's running into the shot or something, I can make her come back like that. And then we can also adjust her posture here. So I can take her waist here, bring her down into like a karate stance almost. Okay, so now let's talk about lighting for a second. So we have this light set up here. So this is an aperture 300D here on a scrim here. So I'm just going to delete this for a second. I'll show you how lighting works here. So again, in Set.A.Light, you have to simulate all of the lighting in here or else it looks pitch black. So that's from our RE light coming from the window. So that's like our natural quote unquote window light coming in. So we want to add a little bit more dimension here. And let's actually light from where the window is. That would probably be the most natural way to light anyways. So we'll come over to our continuous light tab down here. And let's actually go with a, yeah, we can go with the 300D, that's fine. All right, so we'll go with the 300D. So we'll bring it out here. And we can move the height up a little bit, just make sure it's on. Okay. So you'll notice here how the lighting is very, bare bones, very harsh on her. It looks like a horror movie right now. But let's go ahead and position this light. So we want it to be slightly above her head. And we have all these modifiers here that we can use. We can have lanterns, light domes, all these things. But I'm actually going to use something different. I'm going to come over to helper here. And let's actually just use a diffuser panel. So we'll stick this out here, have this move forward a little bit. Move that down. So again, I'm adjusting the pitch here to make this move down. And then we'll come up to the height here, make the height come up. And again, we'll adjust this. I know it looks kind of funky right now. We just want to get this to a good height. Okay, we'll move the pitch angle again. Okay, so now we can see that in frame. We don't want that. So that's another nice thing about doing this virtually before we go into set is you can actually see where your lighting placement is going to be approximately. So we'll go ahead and raise this up a little bit more here to where we're out of frame. And then we can still see that stand, so we'll move that stand out a little bit. Okay, for the height, we'll go up. Now another thing we can do in Set.A.Light is we can come over and we can adjust this, so we can adjust the stops of light that this diffuser is doing in its property panel. So we can make it go 2 2/3. We can also adjust the size of it, but we'll keep it, we'll maybe just make it a little bit wider. Again, you'll want this to probably match the measurements of what your actual grip equipment is, so just keep that in mind. So, I mean, there's a lot of other continuous lights down here. You have tube lights, so if we wanted to add like a hair light to her, we could bring a tube out onto the floor. Seems to always be my go-to nowadays for hair lights. So we can add that out here. And now another cool feature with these lights, if we want to point it, we want to make sure it's pointing towards the model, we can just hit this little icon that says rotate light towards model. Okay, so now we'll raise the height up on this light. I'll just take it out of frame here. And again, we'll change this to be more. So if I hit this arrow here, we can just rotate that to have it be more horizontal. And then we'll just raise it up out of frame. And now the whole time, this light's going to be pointing towards our model. So it'll just adjust the rotation of it pretty naturally there. Okay, so that looks good. Now, if we want to audition the light, we can come up here and turn the light off. Or we can turn it on. Okay, so it's adding a little bit of an edge there, so that's nice. So let's just say we want this to be our frame here. So what we can do is we can come over to this window here and we'll go ahead and take what's called a snapshot. Now there's a lot of things this is doing besides doing a screen capture. So we'll select that, hit that, and then we'll come over to our timeline and you'll notice that it's saved that frame there. Now let's just say we like end up drastically changing this scene. Like we come in and we like, you know, delete this and we move our model back really far or something in the corner. You know, we make all these changes and let's just say, oh man, like we've gone way too far. I don't like these changes. So obviously we can hit Command Z a million times, or we can come back and click on our snapshot here and we can add a new snap of what we already did, or in this case, we'll just say discard. And now we've reverted back in time to that last snapshot that we took. So we can even see over here in this window that our lighting is the same that it was before. So pretty cool feature there for this program, I think. That's pretty awesome. And it'll come in handy as we start to storyboard things. Okay, so we can adjust the posing. The other thing we can adjust too are her facial expressions. So this comes in really good handy if you're showing this to your actors and they can get a general idea of what you want the performance to be like on set with these expressions. So to do that, I'm just going to select my model and we'll come over to face. Now, right away, there's some really easy adjustments here. So if we want to, so right now we have the happiness cranked up pretty high. So I can turn that down if we want it to be more mellow. Like that's just kind of a neutral look there on our model, but we want it to go up a little bit more. So we'll crank this up a little bit to something kind of in the middle there to start out with. Okay. So for that first shot, we want her, so we want our facial expression to be pretty mellow. So we'll go ahead and hit apply to our first frame there. Okay, so in terms of exporting these frames that we just created, there's a few ways to do it. So we can obviously come over to export, have it render it out and export it, but I find this takes a long time to render out. It's a lot faster if we just come over here to setup and we just wait for it to render in this window, which goes a little bit faster since it's a little bit smaller of a preview. And then all we do is we just hit Command-Shift-4 on our keyboard and we just take a screenshot of these individual frames. So I'll go ahead and click on the next one. Do the same thing. And then the first one here. Okay. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and hit Command S or Control S to save. We'll exit out of this and we'll go into our editing software. All right, so now I'm in my editing software. I use DaVinci Resolve for a lot of my stuff, but if you use Premiere or Final Cut or whatever other editing software you like to use, that is totally fine. It'll work just perfectly for what we're doing here for this tutorial. Now, what I'll do next is I'll drag and drop them onto my timeline in chronological order. So again, we want to start here, then go to here, and then end here. So we'll go here. And then we'll go here, and then we'll go here. Now my timeline, I'll zoom in a little bit here so we can see what's going on. So if I play it back, it's really slow right now. Like usually I think the stills are set to 5 seconds on most editing software. So we want to speed that up. So it's just dulling in as she's throwing her hands in the air and shouting something. Okay, so again, it doesn't necessarily need to look perfect. Okay, so I'm not gonna edit too much down here in the timeline because we're gonna adjust the pacing here in a minute once we get a few more things into our project. Okay, so the next thing we wanna do is we wanna create dialogue to go below our storyboards in our edit. Okay, so I have my script here, and again, for this commercial that I did, these scripts were all in Spanish. They aired on a Spanish TD channel. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to select these. So I'll just select different parts of the dialogue here, click Command C, and then I'm going to head over to Elevenlabs. Okay, so now we want to record the dialogue. Now, we don't necessarily have to get our actual actors to do this. You can do it on your own. So here's our script. So I'm going to go ahead and select our little piece of dialogue here, hit Command C, and we'll come over here, and then we'll go and hit Command V, and then just hit Get Started for Free. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll hit Command V, and then I'll hit Generate Speech. And again, for this, you can come over here and you can adjust sort of the way the people say it, adjust the performance here. So go ahead and hit Generate Speech, and then it will generate it out. Once the voiceover is where you like it, you'll go down to the corner and you'll click Download, and then you'll import it into your project. Okay, so we've taken a step into the future here. So now I have all of my storyboards in here, as well as all the dialogue down below, as well as some music to go along with our piece that we've edited here. And again, what's really cool about this is, as you can see, we've basically put together an entire ad for free before the ad is even made. So I'll just go ahead and play that back for you now.
Mamá, no es posible. La hicimos limpiar la casa, hacer los impuestos y inscribirme en clases de inglés. Y lo hizo todo antes del baile. Incluso es temporada de gripe y eso no la detuvo. ¿Cómo? ¿Cuál es su secreto? Vamos Health. Nuestros médicos y equipos se encargan de ti y te conectan con todo lo que necesitas para estar sano e informado, para que puedas vivir tus sueños. Únete hoy.
Okay, so this is the final ad that we made. And if I scrub through, you can see these are real shots with real actors and real stuff going on here.
Mamá, ¿cómo es posible? Ya limpió la casa, ya metió nuestros impuestos y hasta me inscribió en clases de inglés, todo antes del baile. ¿Cómo? ¿Cuál es su secreto? Vamos, Health.
Estamos listos para atender a nuestros pacientes y conectarlos con todo lo que necesitan para vivir sus sueños, ya sean informarse sobre la educación para sus hijos o cómo acceder a recursos comunitarios. Únete hoy.
Now I'll play the storyboard and the ad side by side with the storyboard recut to match what the ad is.
Mamá, ¿cómo es posible? Ya limpió la casa, ya metió nuestros impuestos y hasta me inscribió en clases de inglés, todo antes del baile. ¿Cómo? ¿Cuál es su secreto? Vamos, Health.
Estamos listos para atender a nuestros pacientes y conectarlos con todo lo que necesitan para vivir sus sueños, ya sean informarse sobre la educación para sus hijos o cómo acceder a recursos comunitarios. Únete hoy.
So there you have it, how to create an ad, film, or video before it's even created.